Spring has finally arrived here at the cave where we're building our dream retro computer, console and gaming space. A YouTube studio for the channel and a destination for retro enthusiasts to visit. Hello cave dwellers, welcome. This week has been another monumental effort in the series of DIY episodes that I've been doing, one a month, with our aim to open this place up in September. That's the goal, assuming the world will allow it and it's all safe to do so. So that means we've got about 5 more months, 5 more episodes, 5 more Herculean efforts to get this place shipshape and ready for you to come and visit. And let's show you what I've been up to this week. So the first job on the list this week was to get organised. That pile of kit from the old cave has been weighing heavily on my mind. I really struggle to work around the mess, and I also fear for the safety of all of the things in my leaning tower of retro. And it's not just this pile of mess here. We've also piled it up in the storeroom with absolutely no organisation. It's just been shoved in there as it arrived, and it all needs to come out and it needs to be sorted and it needs to be safely stored. And it's not just those things, there are new arrivals coming all the time, donations from you guys, things I'm buying that I want to put in the exhibition space. Things like these 2 boxes here, these are full of pristine tabletop games that really need to be well looked after. I can't risk falling over them or dropping something on them, as I always do eventually. They're just not safe on the floor there, so we've got to take care of this almighty mess. Just the tidying up this week took me 4 days to complete, and it wasn't just a question of decanting things from cardboard boxes into plastic storage boxes. Everything was jumbled up, so every single box, every item in every single box had to be sorted, grouped, labelled and then safely stored, right down to the individual cables. Every audio, video, SCSI, parallel, serial cable, you name it, I sorted it, I cleaned it, I put it into its corresponding box and grouped them all together so I know exactly where they are when I need them. Yes, it took an absolute age, but hopefully that will pay dividends in the long term when I'm not spending 30 minutes trying to find that specific PlayStation video cable or something like that. I'll know exactly where it is and I'll be able to dig it out and find it. So hopefully it will pay dividends in the long term and it's worth all the effort. Well, we're 2 days into the cleaning up process, and I assure you there is some kind of logic to all of this mess here. I've piled everything into little compartmental piles so that when the storage boxes arrive, and they should have been here by now, but everything seems to be taking forever to arrive lately. When they arrive, I can put them all in the boxes, label up what they are, and then job done. They're all compartmentalized. Then we can pull out the storeroom, which we'll do on Monday because it's Friday now. I'm going to take the weekend off. I'm going to go and see my dad for the first time in 6 months. Must be that long since I've seen him, as the restrictions and the lockdowns lift here in the UK. So going to go and sit in a garden and catch up with him, and we'll be back on Monday to get stuck back into this. Right, time for a beer. And before we continue, I must say a quick thank you to PCBWay.com, our sponsor today, who not only offer PCB printing services, they now offer CNC and 3D printing services on their website, PCBWay.com. So not only can you get your PCB manufactured, you can get a 3D printed case to go with it and protect it, so you no longer have a card hanging out the back of your ZX Spectrum or your Commodore 64 that you're afraid might get knocked, might get shorted out, might get damaged. Get it all under one roof at PCBWay.com. We thank them for sponsoring us today, and now let's roll our sleeves up and get on with the show. And it was a lovely weekend too. Hi Dad. And on Monday, thankfully the storage boxes did arrive. They came in many sizes so that I might make sense of what was now a very daunting view when I arrived. I mean, everything just feels like it's everywhere, and I felt like I'd hardly begun to climb the mountain, but those organised piles of kit soon moved into the new boxes, which I labelled up, and it did feel like progress was finally being made on day 3, and that we might get closer to the light at the end of this very messy tunnel. As the evening drew in on day 4, everything was finally in the storeroom. Everything was cleaned down, everything was done. The cardboard recycling was out in the bin, and the cave and my brain was a much more tranquil place to be. So tidying and packing done, it's time to make the most of the rest of the week, the few days we've got left of this week to complete as much as we can here. In one corner we had Mark building away. We'll come back and see what he's doing later. And then I was up on a ladder. Now the idea for the hands-on space is not just to say, oh look, there's an old computer, I'll go and have a go on that. It's for you to be able to come and sit and bask in the glow and enjoy the nostalgia. And to do that, I want to stimulate all of your senses. I want you to enjoy the sights and the sounds and the smells and everything that makes you never want to leave once you're in here. And lighting will be key to that. So this month I'm experimenting with 2 types of light. The first to go up is to flood the cathedral-like ceiling with festoon lights. And then under that canvas, that blanket of lights, I want to hang these. These are genuine 1960s theatre lights, a nod to the RMC studio at the other end of the room to try and create some continuity in the space, if you like. And I just think they're really lovely things. These were made around 1963, 64 by Strand Electric. They're famous for making a lot of theatre lights back then. But the fittings inside them, they're all new, it's all made safe. If we even do use these with mains electricity, I'm undecided yet. We might use some rechargeable LEDs or something like that. I need to experiment with them, but we'll get them up. But I just think they look beautiful and I hope you like them too. And before we can put them up, let's get those festoon lights up. While I was doing that, down below me, Dean had masterfully built a door for the storeroom and was now cladding it in the remaining scraps of wood from the wall. And this really did go down to the very last bit of wood that we had. We really cut this fine. We had just enough to cover the door and Dean did a great job of it. And yes, he did rip another pair of trousers. He's getting through 1 pair of trousers every month at the moment. Dean, I'm sorry mate, I'll buy you some trousers for next month. As a finishing touch on the door and the wall, I've built a stencil of the channel logo on which to tag the door with some bright red paint. And I was quite nervous about doing this because in my mind it looks brilliant, but I really don't want to destroy all of that hard work that Dean's gone to create this door. And we've got no wood left if it goes wrong, so crossed my fingers. And I was very happy with the result. And before I give you the tour of all the work we've done and show you what Mark's been up to, there was this special delivery. It came courtesy of Steve, also known as Cine Steve, over on YouTube. You'll find a link to his channel on the video description. And he's brought this as a long-term loan for us to use and enjoy. This right here is a genuine 1979 or early 80s Galaxian arcade cabinet. This is not a replica, it's a lovingly restored original created by Namco, and it looks and plays wonderfully. Steve's done a really good job on this. Or at least it did when we finally got into the cave, because this thing was heavy. When we first attempted, we came in through the rear deliveries door. We got up a couple of flights of stairs and there was some boxing that prevented us from getting it any higher. So we had to take it all the way back down, round the front of the building, in the front door, and then get up another staircase. To get it up in here. It was a real nightmare, a real effort, but well worth it. And I don't think Steve will be wanting to take it back down those stairs in a hurry. So that's a good thing from my point of view. Thank you, Steve. It's very generous of you to let us borrow this and share it with everyone who visits. And I've installed it at the edge of the exhibition bench here, so it's the first thing that you see when you come in the door, and hopefully it will make a big impression on people who come in. Just that impact of seeing that, and then the lights, and then the bench, and just drawing the eye into all these wonderful things immediately as soon as you step in the cave. And here we are to inspect the fruits of our labour this month. I'm really pleased with how it's gone. I have about 5 to 6 days to put together the DIY episode each month. And it's quite hard when 4 of those days are spent tidying up rubbish. It's hard to make that entertaining. So I'm really pleased that we've actually got something to show for the DIY. The door at the back I think looks wonderful. It's not an invisible door because we've had to use the scraps of wood that we've got left, so it doesn't continue, but I'm really pleased with how flush it's ended up. The addition of the arcade cabinet is just wonderful. I absolutely love that. And you'll notice we've got 3 tables now instead of 1. The extra table base is turned up so I can make them. I had aspirations originally to put loads more tables here, but as soon as I started putting them out, I realized they'll soon take up a lot of space, especially if we want chairs around here. Haven't decided what chairs to get yet because I don't want to turn it into a pub, as I've mentioned before. I'm thinking kind of school science lab stools that I can tuck under when they're not in use. So we can maybe flood it out with stools. Something for next month maybe, because it's not cheap, but it's definitely needed. Now these lights, I've been up the ladder and I've finished putting up all of the lights. I've got the festoon lights on a smart plug, so I can just turn them on from my phone, hopefully. There they are. And I can also make them flash and do fancy things like that, but I think just like that's fine. And then the theatre lights have just got rechargeable LEDs in them. Let me turn them on and give them some colour. I don't know, let's go red, green and blue. Get the old RGB look. I love that they look kind of like CRT monitors, don't they? And we'll turn the brightness up. Now these aren't really supposed to throw light, they're just an ambient thing to look nice. There we go, I think they look pretty cool, and I'm hoping not to have to go up the ladder again in a hurry because I'm not good with heights, and getting the highest brackets up there, it was a bit hairy, but we got it done. Now you're probably wondering what Mark was building, and that's all the way over here. Let me take the camera over here to show you. So when you come into the cave from the entrance, you'll see the Galaxian cabinet, and then you'll see a bar / reception. I can't really call it a bar yet because we need to get a license if we're to sell alcohol. We could still sell soft drinks over it, but we've made it to be kind of like a curiosity box. It's got a little bit of depth in there, and the reason for that is I'm going to stack it with something. I haven't decided yet. I might do loose cassette tapes and make a little wall of cassette tapes. I might do big box games. I haven't decided, but when I've decided, and we'll do this next month, we'll fill it up. We'll stain the wood around the edges, and then we'll put some smoked acrylic across it and a kickboard at the bottom just to protect it. So the first thing that you'll see is a Galaxian. You'll see all the CRT monitors ahead of you on the workbench, and then you'll get a hit of nostalgia from the cassette tapes or whatever else is in there, and a friendly smile from somebody behind the desk, probably me, welcoming everyone in and handing them a drink of some sort. So it's nice to extend the space over there, I think. Now, we've cleared up a lot of mess, but it's been replaced by a lot of mess. The pile of boxes that we unloaded has been replaced with a pile of rubbish, and that's supposed to be out here by now. It won't take me long to get it out of here, but the reason it hasn't gone is because my car blew up. Yes, the engine started tapping really loudly and then it just gave up, and 3 garages have looked at it and said it's not worth fixing for the cost of the car. So I'm just sorting out a replacement car so I can deal with that. It's been a hell of a week. So that will go, and we can start thinking about what we'll do next month. I think the bulk of the DIY work is done, I say hopefully, because let me talk you through the 3 key areas that I really need to sort out. The area where the mess is going to become the tabletop game area. It will be like a library of tabletop games with Mark, who owns most of them, welcoming you, talking about them, telling you about how he restores them and refurbishes them, and giving you the games to play on. And what you'll do is you'll take the game from that area to this area here, where I intend to build a workbench. It will be like the scaffold ones, but higher, so more of a bar stool height. You've got power sockets here, so you can sit here and play your tabletop games. And that ensures all of the lovely boxes for the games that Mark owns can stay up high on bookshelves. Maybe we'll have like an old school ladder that goes along the bookshelf. So they're protected, people aren't smashing them up, but you can still play on the games under the guidance of Mark. And I think that's how we're going to get around the power supply issue that I mentioned a couple of months back. How do you have loads of tabletop games with mixed power supplies? well, someone will be there to help you out with all of that. Over in this area here, this is the library area, and this just needs a ton of bookcases. Of course, the secret arcade. We're getting there actually, in terms of patrons. We're up to 1,200 patrons. So another 800 and we'll be able to fund the secret arcade, but we're a long way off that yet. So we're gonna buy lots of bookshelves there. Again, no DIY, just need to lug the bookshelves up here. We'll get acid-free bags to keep all of the magazines in, like the comic book bags, so that all of the magazines are kept pristine, but you can still take them off the shelf and have a read, and we'll have them all organised by magazine name. So that's that area. And then the final area is this no man's land of space in the middle here. There's another area after this I haven't mentioned. But this no man's land of space, what I want to do with this is I want to tie the two ends of the room together. We've got my studio down there and the exhibition space here. When people come to visit, I do want them to have a museum experience. I want you to be able to see as much stuff as possible and not have it all in the storeroom. And so to do that, I want to build some mobile displays here. For example, to put a complete set of cassettes. I'm being loaned the complete set of ZX Spectrum 8-bit Codemasters cassette games. And I'd love to show that complete set in a mobile stand where you can see both the front and the backs of the boxes, because you've got to see the screenshots on the back. So I want to make lots of mobile displays that are all out here, you can all enjoy, but I can wheel them away and put them away if there's a talk and we need chairs out, or if I'm just doing my filming and they're getting in the way. So that will make use of this empty space here. And then the other space I forgot about is the lab, but we'll come on to that in a couple of months because that's going to be quite an expensive one to kit out, I think. In terms of the exhibition space, the only thing we're missing is cable tidies, which I need to source, and monitor stands, because I think they all need to be up on a stand to really enjoy the systems properly. And the chairs, of course. And you know what? We've come this far and I've waited so long that I'm going to round off this episode by pulling a load of systems out and putting them on the benches. I'm going to wire them up. I just want to see what it's going to look like. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let's get a load of systems out and let's get an even better feel for what this will look like in its finished form. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who is supporting this project at patreon.com/RMC Retro. This is all happening because of you. I know I say it every month, but I can't thank you enough. Thank you everyone who's contributing, and I really hope you get to come here, or at least enjoy the fruits of our labour and enjoy this space in future videos. Take care everyone. See you later.